Hey everyone. So in today's lesson we're going to be dealing with area, and I thought that maybe going over a little bit of basic area here before this lesson might set you guys up for some success. So let's talk about area of just these few basic shapes, rectangles and triangles. First of all, what is area? How do you measure area? Well, area is just the space inside of a shape. It might be the space inside of a rectangle like this. It might be the space taken up by a calculator. But how do you measure that? How do you measure space inside of a two-dimensional shape? Well, the way you do that is by counting up all the little squares inside of the shape. So here you can see there's 5 centimeters this way. So there would be 5 squares this way. And then we could count up all the squares within this to find out the area of that shape. That would take a lot of time. There's a shortcut. If you know you have a rectangle, you could take the length of the base here, the base, and multiply it by the height. And this would give you the area without having to count up every individual square. So in this situation, my base here is 11 centimeters, and my height is 5. So the number of total squares inside this shape is going to be 55 square centimeters. So to represent that, we're going to put cm for centimeters, and we're going to put a little 2 as an exponent to represent that we're talking about 55 square centimeters, 55 little squares. And that would be the area. Here's another one. Why don't you try this one? What is the area of this shape? Again, we could take and count up every single square, but there's a nice shortcut we can take, which is just base times height. The base is 6, the height is 7. So your total area is going to be 42. And again, I want to label what kind of squares do I have. This is centimeter squares. Now with triangles, again, it's the same premise. We're still going to be counting up how many squares fit inside of this. But here we run into a situation because we don't have a full square there. Again, we have a formula to take care of this. We can take the area is equal to the base again times the height. But we don't need that whole base times height. That will produce another rectangle. I don't want the whole rectangle. I only want half of it. So I'm going to divide this formula in 2. So my formula for this triangle, and all triangles are going to be base times height divided by 2. Let's try that. Base is 8, height is 3, and I'm going to divide this by 2. Area is going to be equal to 24 divided by 2, just multiplying the 8 times the 3. So my area is 12. And again, I'm looking at what type of squares do I have. I'm looking at inch squares. So there's going to be 12 inch squares that fit inside of this triangle right there. Over here, I can do the same thing. All triangles follow that same formula. Base times height divided by 2. Here I have a base of 2. My height is not this slanted length here, but the height going right up directly vertical, so it's perpendicular or a 90-degree angle from the base. Let's say that height there is 9 inches. So I'm going to take my base, which is again 2, times my height, which is 9, and again divide that by 2. Area is going to be equal to 18 divided by 2, so my area, which is the number of squares inside that shape, is going to be equal to 9 square inches.